Good morning, Nashville screeners and anyone watching. Sam Smith here. New channel called Nashville Screen. Just kind of keeping it here in case I want to do film stuff, which I am, at New York Film Festival. This is a dispatch from day 6, kind of recapping what happened yesterday. And I'm going to do it today solo as I walk up to Lincoln Center. I'm down in the West Village where I'm staying this time. Very blessed to be able to just have an extended vacation here with the wife, and I'm going to kind of show you my walk up to Lincoln Center. I'm not walking all the way up, walking to the 1 line right now, the 1 train. New York City is my home away from home, as I went to college at NYU for film studies at Tisch, cinema studies, so always good to be back. Started going to the New York Film Festival in college. Actually, during the first few weeks I was here in fall of 2001, 9/11 happened immediately as I got here, and the New York Film Festival, you know, a month later continued on, and I was there at the premieres of Mulholland Drive with David Lynch in person, Royal Tenenbaums with the original Beatles' I'm Looking Through You ending with Wes and everyone in attendance. Gwyneth Paltrow waved to me, which was a big moment for my 20-year-old self. Anyway, the New York Film Festival ever since has had a big place in my heart. I've gone up for other years as press and industry, and I'm here this year on press and industry. And we're about halfway through the fest. So, the press weeks, that is. The fest proper starts Friday with After the Hunt. We'll be seeing that Friday morning early. So yesterday was kind of a weird, difficult day of cinema, just because I found all 4 films to be quite impenetrable, and yet there's an ending to the evening that you have to stick around to hear, to believe. Outstanding ending to the day. But started off with the new documentary from Lucretia Martel, called NUESTRA, TIERRA, aka Landmarks, and I had a hard time with it. Just didn't feel like the story was told in the most easy to understand manner, maybe in a more abstract type of documentary, which is fine. A lot of drone footage, which I'm a little mixed on, just like I don't know how I feel about it yet as a formal technique. I didn't love Lucretia Martel's last film. I don't connect with her stuff, and I'm like the only cinephile not to, so I'm missing something clearly. But it's about 3 kind of goons who try to take over a indigenous land. So obviously, audience is on the side of the indigenous people. It's kind of a courtroom drama doc, and I don't know. I don't have a lot of strong thoughts on it. Some people are very, very, very high on it, but it was just fine for me. And I'm gonna pause there as I go into the next films and hop on the train to head uptown to Lincoln Center. So talk to you in a second. I try to get a lot of walking in every morning if I can, because there's a lot of sitting in the movies. So I will get off the train early uptown and do some walking. It allows me to pass a coffee shop that I love that it looks like it's closed for some reason. Cafe Rinaldi. I will give it a shout out anyways. Nice European style little pavilion with a plaza here. It looks like they did not show up to work, which is odd, because it's one of those things about New York that I don't like. You can't always count on the hours of something. I also want to point out here, this is the Savant, and it was just canceled by Apple TV indefinitely. It's not going to go well, these kinds of censorship efforts. Jessica Chastain posted today, just now, disagreeing with Apple's decision. I don't know, it's not going to go well. But that's interesting, because we're seeing Jessica Chastain in the new Bigelow tonight, House of Dynamite. It's one of the more anticipated titles of the fest. Also today is Blue Moon. But we'll get to today later. Want to keep talking about yesterday, in which I saw Jay Kelly, Noah Baumbach, and man, I really wanted to love this. It didn't hit for me. It wasn't it. I've been following it just because, you know, I love the Oscars and I love Oscar prognosticating, and it seems like this is such an obvious Oscar bait type of film. You have Baumbach making a kind of prestige Hollywood story about a very famous, the most famous actor in the world, up there with Cary Grant and Paul Newman, and it's George Clooney playing him. Of course, George Clooney is that, and so it's a reflexive meta-narrative on movie stars and their lives. You've probably heard about it at this point. I do still think it will do fine at Oscar. It'll be just kind of satiable enough for that type of audience member or voter to just slide it on into Best Picture, Screenplay. Probably not directing, probably not Clooney, because now DiCaprio's climbing the ranks for One Battle, which I'm seeing Sunday in IMAX. I'm the last person in the city to see it. There's an ongoing joke amongst cinephiles, who's going to be the last to see it. But it just didn't hit me in the feels, man. I liked a lot of it. The opening shot is beautiful, kind of intimately choreographed Hollywood shot. Sandler is good. He's got a tear-jerking scene or two. And Clooney is, you know, as Jason said, he's going for a lot here. He's really laying it all out as much as he can. I just have never thought Clooney has that much to summon. Like Solaris and a couple of performances I love aside, I've always really liked Clooney as a star, but I can kind of see him acting, you know, that feeling. And overall, I've got to say that this may be unfair, but I'm going to just say it anyways. I've been watching a lot of like 90s prestige dramas with my niece. Shout out to you, B. And we watch stuff like Jerry Maguire and Good Will Hunting, right? And I'm just wondering, shouldn't a movie like J. Kelly be as good as a movie like Jerry Maguire? Shouldn't it be that good? Is that unfair? I don't care, because it's the thought I'm having. I just think it should be one of Baumbach's most solid films, and it's kind of my least favorite. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just like the first world problems of it all, but you can still have a movie about a famous actor going through, you know, stuff in his life and have it be extremely emotional. I mean, Jerry Maguire, again, same thing. Successful white guy. You can still have a great story. So it was fine. And then I'm gonna take another pit stop here, because my other stop on this walk I like to do is Bi Bar. This is just a good place for smoothies. So we're at 59th Street in Columbus. It's very close to Lincoln Center now. And Bi Bar is a great spot for actual healthy smoothies with your protein, your chia, your flax, all that stuff you want for the day. It's gonna help me sustain through some films today as you get hungry and don't have a lot of time for breaks. So I'm gonna grab my usual here and then check back in. Protein colada is the drink. It's my favorite. I've been getting one pretty much every morning. So Bi Bar, and we're approaching Lincoln Center now, as I'll tell you about the rest of the day. It also didn't do J. Kelly favors to be sandwiched very awkwardly, almost in a shade thrown kind of way, between two very important documentaries. The one I'm talking about after J. Kelly is Black News Terms and Conditions. Thought it was really cool and interesting. It is a very rich, semiotic-laden video essay, film essay, documentary. It's not even it jokes immediately that it's not a documentary. It has some kind of fictional scenes interwoven in that are actually really cool. They're shot in like a future world on an ocean liner that's going out into this zone of the ocean where this is a hard film to explain. You need to see it and take it all in, but it's inspired by the African almanac of cultural events that have kind of defined and linked different sources of Black culture in the last since forever. And this is a zone in the ocean that in the film is used as almost like a, if I had to take a stab, it's like a metaphor for a place in the cultural imagination and understanding where we can kind of hold and protect kind of Black culture. It's not an all-encompassing documentary about Black culture. It's going for a specific kind of thesis that I have to say, kind of remained out of reach for me the whole time. I don't really understand the entire thesis, and that's surely on me. It's the kind of film that a film school student or a master's student in cinema studies would be able to pour over and kind of break down, like I said, semiotically, what are all the ideas and references. And also, I think it's born from that kind of thinking. It's a very academic film, and so it might remain out of reach as well for a lot of viewers because it is very highbrow and academic, but it's also very fun and improvisational, like a jazz opus where you're kind of bringing in all kinds of footage from different new media, social media, film history, a lot of interesting clips that get thrown in. Anna Karina, I just mentioned in the last video, Anna Karina is in this film. I was not expecting that. All sorts of things. All Dirt Roast Taste of Salt gets a little shot in there. I just wanted to give a shout out to that film. But I thought it was really interesting. I don't quite get it, but I do, like, I don't get it like in my brain, but I get it in my heart a little bit. I get intuitively I get the point, I think. And it's something I've been reflecting about a lot, is just the importance of an audience member or a viewer kind of understanding something intuitively. I go back to the David Lynch screening of Mulholland Drive I just mentioned, where he really laid that out in front of the audience and said, you know, you don't need to try to understand this. If you're following the language of your unconscious, using your unconscious brain, your subconscious brain, this will make perfect sense for you. And I did feel like I understood it on a deep level that I can't really explain. And I think that's totally okay. So, yeah, that was interesting. Again, Jay Kelly just almost awkwardly thrown in between those two films. And here we are approaching Lincoln Center. This is honestly kind of my favorite moment of the day at the festival. I love walking in. It's a rainy day, which is honestly my favorite, but on a sunny day, it's great too. This is the main pavilion of Lincoln Center and the fountains. The fountain here, yeah, I love fountains. Shout out to Zach Clark. Yeah, I just love being here. I love starting the day here. I will often sit here and kind of have a little meditation, informal meditation / coffee hang here at the fountain and get ready for the day. Maybe do some work over here in the pavilion, this little plaza we're going to be walking to. So, the last film of the day was pretty much my most anticipated of the festival. It was Bi Gan's Resurrection. Bi Gan has only made a couple features, Kylie Blues and Long Day's Journey into Night 3D. Both have famous long tracking shots, or long extended one takes, I should say. And so he's always very formally ambitious. But I love Asian cinema. So any big release from a kind of major Asian filmmaker, I'm very excited about. And this was my most anticipated. It was described a few years ago as he launched it as this kind of mind-bending, like time-spanning fantasy opus. And it certainly is. It's 2 hours and 30-something minutes long, which I have to keep reminding everyone, I'm pretty sure is shorter than one battle after another. So I don't want to hear any complaining. But it is a challenge. So for the first 3/4 of this film, I felt very challenged, and again, like the ideas of the film were out of my reach. It felt impenetrable. It felt even frustrating at times. It even felt boring at times. There were a lot of walkouts. I really feel bad for the people who walked out, and I encourage you, if you're going to the fest, to make sure you do not, because the final act of this film, Bi Gan just goes God mode. I have rarely seen a filmmaker execute something this ambitious, formally, logistically, practically, just how it was pulled off and shot. The whole film was that way, by the way. Each sequence, which is set during different decades through history, from the silent film era through the 40s, 60s, 70s, and then ending in 99. Bi Gan, I just don't understand how he put this production and budget together. The production value of each shot and sequence is so high and complex, more than any like Marvel movie you would see. It's truly staggering to watch. And even though some of the sequences I was really challenged by and like almost bored during, like I said, confused by, I'm sticking it out, right? I'm trying to get on the wavelength of this film. And in the last act, it goes so hard. I could not believe it. By the time the credits rolled, my hands were in the air. I mean, this is just like full-on Martin Scorsese cinema gif reaction from me, and from many in the audience. A lot of people I heard walking out kind of were still struggling with it, but others were just like jaw on the floor. What he pulls off, and I really did start to understand it again intuitively and emotionally, understand the thesis of the film and what the idea is. The whole concept of the film is stated right from the outset, which is that this is kind of a world he's imagining where people who dream are outcast. So honestly, the first couple sequences almost have like a Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Terry Gilliam kind of feeling to it in its own style, but it is kind of a dystopian kind of premise. And that dreamer character goes through all of time, right? And the way it concludes and wraps up with particularly the most ambitious one take from Bi Gan, not just from Bi Gan, from anyone. I remember over the past 20 years, there's been a lot of like talk about what's the most ambitious one take. You know, when Children of Men came out, Cuarón had the title for a while. And then, you know, Iñárritu did Birdman, you know, where essentially the whole movie is one take, even though it's stitched together. But Bi Gan has dropped the mic. He has officially ended the conversation, man. Like, oh my God, please see this on the biggest, loudest screen. The sound design, there are shocking sonic moments. There are transcendent musical moments. The score is from M83, which I didn't even know until the credits dropped. So that made all the sense in the world. The sense of overwhelming emotional power of the ending of this film is something I've very rarely felt in modern films. It's truly, you gotta consider Bi Gan one of the masters. You really do, even though he's only made a few films. It's masterful stuff. I am very staggered and intimidated by the power of the film. I'm really thinking about it a lot. It's a 5-star, it's the film of the year so far. I have not seen the PTA yet. And I'm sure others might take it over because it's, again, it's not like a film for everyone that you can just sit your parents down and say, hey, this is the film of the year. It's not like that. This is a masterpiece, like artistically. Belongs in a museum, you know? Please let me know what you think, but if you're going to the fest, please stick around to the end. I promise you, anyone who walks out of this majorly screwed up, you're missing out. So here we are again in the plaza that I was mentioning. Great place to work and hang. This is the fountain here. I'm going to walk you across the bridge into the Walter Reed where we're going to the screenings, and we will start off the day today. This is the hang, kind of elevated here. Down below us is a Cafe Paradiso, which is a great old school New York Film Festival hang for coffee and food. It's got old New York Film Festival posters hung up in it, and I really love the vibe in there. If you want to meet someone for a lunch or coffee before a film, it's a great place for it. And we walk over this bridge into the Walter Reed, which is right here. It's shared with, it's right there. Shared with Juilliard School. So a lot of students coming in and out, particularly dance students, and you know, running into all kinds of interesting people. Amy Taubin was with us for the last couple of screenings. Richard Brody and Paul Schrader just sitting 2 seats over from me during Nouvelle Vague. So it's just really cool to see a lot of the old New York luminaries out and about. A dying generation. Hope that we're all kind of keeping that film culture alive as we go forward. And so, yeah, it's been an interesting festival. Not a lot of stuff that I was blown away by, but thankfully Resurrection really came through. So here's our line, and I'm gonna say goodbye and see y'all at my lunch break probably, and we'll talk to you then. Just wrapping up as we pass Mama, which is my go-to coffee nearby. Excellent coffee. I'm a coffee nerd, so thanks Justin for that recommendation. I'm on my lunch break. Just saw Blue Moon. We'll give some more thoughts on my next dispatch. I'm a big Linklater fan, always going to see what he does, and a huge Ethan Hawke fan. So yeah, but I wanted to say that I found the perfect nearby pizza slice, because my New York pizza slice go-to is a white slice. One thing I don't understand about other New York pizza places in other cities like Nashville is that there's never a white slice. Just give me the simple white ricotta slice. I love it. So right around the corner here, I found a nice little spot. I'll say today is going to be, in addition to Blue Moon, we have Sound of Falling, which I'm very excited for. Cannes reactions kind of tampered me down a little bit because it had a lot of hype coming into Cannes, and then it was kind of a little simmered down. I think people just seeing how abstract it is, but I'm really looking forward to it. And then tonight is House of Dynamite, Catherine Bigelow, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I will leave you off here and be back this evening, probably with Jason, to give a little dispatch. So signing off from Traviata Pizza on a rainy New York day. And we'll see you guys in the next one.